He invited his poor ex-wife to his wedding, just to disgrace her. But when she arrived, she stepped out of a limousine, holding triplets who looked exactly like him. And in that single moment, the groom's carefully crafted world came crashing down. The chandeliers of the grand ballroom glittered like constellations. Music played, laughter filled the air, and all eyes turned toward Daniel, the groom. Dressed in white, his smile carried not joy, but arrogance. Because this wasn't just a wedding. To Daniel, this was victory. Years ago, he had divorced his first wife, Elena. Back then, she was fragile, struggling, unable to give him the glamorous life he craved. He had called her a burden, shoved divorce papers across the table, and left her with nothing. No home, no money, no support. When she begged him to stay, he laughed. "You'll never be anything without me." That was the man now standing in front of hundreds of guests, ready to prove his point. Months before, he had sent Elena a wedding invitation, not out of courtesy, but cruelty. The card was etched in gold and read, "Come see what real success looks like." He expected her silence. He expected her shame. He expected her to stay hidden. But he was wrong. The grand doors creaked open. Music faltered. Every head turned. And there she was, Elena. Her figure glowed beneath a midnight gown. Her hair framed her face elegantly, diamonds glimmering against her neck. Behind her, a chauffeur closed the door of a black limousine. And clinging to her hands, 3 small children. Triplets. Each with Daniel's unmistakable eyes. The ballroom gasped. Guests leaned forward in disbelief. Even the bride's smile wavered. Daniel froze, his smirk crumbling. "Elena." Her voice was steady, clear. "You didn't think I'd come, did you?" The new bride tugged Daniel's sleeve, whispering urgently. Who are those children?" Elena knelt beside the boys, adjusting their tiny suits, before rising to face Daniel. Her words sliced through the silence. "These are your sons, Daniel. The ones you abandoned when you called me a burden." Gasps rippled like thunder. The pastor dropped his notes. Cameras clicked. The whispers turned into a storm. Daniel shook his head violently. "No, this is a trick. You're lying." But Elena was prepared. She pulled a folder from her clutch, documents, neatly stacked. Birth certificates, paternity test results, medical records. She laid them carefully on the altar for all to see. "I don't need your approval anymore," she said firmly. "The truth speaks for itself." As the crowd erupted, Elena's mind traveled back. To nights when she held crying babies alone, rocking them to sleep with tears staining her cheeks. To mornings she dragged herself to work, 3 jobs at once, so her children could eat. To moments she carried groceries uphill, balancing bags and strollers while neighbors whispered pity behind her back. There were times she nearly broke. Times she thought Daniel's cruel words might be right. But then, small victories carried her forward. A promotion here. A kind word from a stranger there. And most of all, the love of her children, their laughter healing wounds she thought permanent. Now, years later, she wasn't just surviving. She was thriving. Daniel's face flushed red, sweat dripping down his temples. His bride's hand slipped away from his arm. Her voice trembled. "Is this true, Daniel? Did you hide all of this from me?" He opened his mouth, but no sound came out. The evidence was irrefutable. His new in-laws exchanged horrified glances. His business partners shook their heads. The empire he flaunted was unraveling under the weight of his own lies. The bride tore off her ring and hurled it at his feet. "I will not marry a coward who abandons his own blood," she cried before storming out, her heels echoing like final judgment. In the chaos, another figure emerged from the crowd. Adrian. Years ago, he had been Elena's neighbor, the one who helped her carry groceries, who watched the babies when she couldn't afford childcare, who reminded her gently, "You're stronger than you think." Now, he stepped forward with quiet confidence, placing a protective hand on her shoulder. "She doesn't need you, Daniel. She never did. She built a life without you, and it's filled with love." Elena turned to Adrian, gratitude shining in her eyes. Unlike Daniel, he had never looked at her as a burden. He saw her worth when no one else did. Daniel collapsed into a chair, his face buried in his hands. Humiliated. Exposed. Abandoned by the very people he hoped to impress. But Elena, she stood taller than ever. With Adrian at her side, her children's laughter ringing through the ballroom, she walked toward the exit. Each step was steady, each breath lighter than the last. The limousine door opened. She guided her children inside, Adrian following closely. Before stepping in, she turned once more to face the hall. Her voice carried softly, but powerfully. "I came here because you invited me, Daniel. But what you meant for humiliation became my triumph. I don't need revenge. I don't need approval. I already have everything you can never buy: dignity, happiness, and love." She closed the door. The car pulled away, leaving Daniel behind in silence. The night air was cool. City lights danced against the windows. For the first time in years, Elena felt free. She didn't look back. She didn't have to. Because in that ballroom, Daniel was left with nothing but the emptiness of his own choices. And Elena? She carried forward a future brighter than she ever dared imagine. So tell me, in the end, who truly won that night? Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories like this.